good? All right. Good morning, everyone. Hi. My name is Anna Fadden, and I have the pleasure of serving as a deacon to this congregation and a member of the executive team. I use she, her pronouns, and I wanted to call your attention to one item in this week. So this is your last week to get your toiletry donations into the bin in the vestry for the refugees in air. The deadline is March 31st. Bring your donations by then, and thank you to those of you who have already donated. And as was the case last week, please read Community Matters, which is chock full of great events and activities. And then please remember to put your electronic devices into worship mode. Welcome to church.
Good morning. The story is told of a person who was standing in the Grand Hall of South Station during Friday afternoon rush hour. He was selling pencils, which, according to the sign he'd hung around his neck, were being offered for $1 million each. Everybody was walking right past him, but then a curious individual stopped, gave a little chuckle, walked up to the person and said, "You're kidding, right? Nobody's going to spend $1 million for a pencil." The pencil seller looked him dead in the eye and said, "All I gotta sell is one." It's auction season here at First Church, and while we can all hope that someone will bid $1 million for a jar of jam, 3 hours of leaf raking, etc., more likely than not, we'll be relying on everyone here to buy a few items for whatever your budget can afford. I've been asked to speak about my experience with the auction as Joe, average church member. When I first heard about the auction many years ago, I had no idea what I could contribute. I'm a teacher and an academic researcher and an author of books and articles. What could I possibly offer that anyone would want to buy? I'll write you a lesson plan. I'll design your next qualitative research study. It took a while, but I eventually realized I had a few tricks up my sleeve. I like to cook, and once in a while I hit on something that people like. I offered a lasagna. Judy Pickett bought it that first year and served it at a dinner party. The next year, I offered a ride in my cute little convertible sports car. Carol Tillis took me up on that, and we had a super fun ride tooling around with stops along the way. I still owe a sports car ride to Susan Tordella. Susan, today. There's no expiration date on that, and today is an option. It's a fine spring day for a ride in a Miata. Another year, I took a gamble and offered editorial services for an aspiring writer. I offered to read up to 30 pages and then meet for coffee to discuss. Brian Tarbox won the bidding, and we had a great discussion of a book project he was working on. Over the years, Lori and I have also benefited from the offerings of our fellow congregants. One year, we spent a lovely summer week in Joyce Williams' cottage on the Maine coast. Another year, we bought a pie from Rich Lombardi made with wild blueberries he picked himself. Yum. Another year, it was a beer tasting party with Larry Kaler, IPAs, ales, pilsners, and more. They were great and mostly homemade. Each year, we bid what we can afford, some years a little more, and we never regret it. So this year, I plan to offer another lasagna for 9 people. Men's group, how was that lasagna I made for the retreat? If I can figure out stuff to offer, so can you. Who knows? Maybe your offering will be that one magical item for which somebody bids $1 million. Thank you.
Jim, how far are you going to take me in the Miata?
As far as you want to go.
All right, let's go to Canada. Good morning, everybody. Next is the Prelude by Molly. Help me wherever you can this morning. Thank you, Molly. Welcome, everybody, both in the sanctuary and online. As you probably know, our minister is on sabbatical, and so people like me, with a huge amount of backing from the deacons, a big shout out to our deacons. It's a lot of work on their backs right now to produce a lay worship service. So the first thing before I forget, you have some pink cards, right? Before the offertory, if you could jot down something you have learned from nature, that is the theme of this service. So if you could just jot it down, and in the offertory, put it in the collection, and we will use them later. So I would like to call forth Tucker to light the chalice, and we're going to do the chalice lighting, our covenant, a little bit differently this time. Our technical man, Michael, is going to put up the words. We're going to go one side and then the other side. All right, so first together, then we'll call it your left, and then right, and we'll kind of answer each other. So, all together, love is the spirit of this church. Service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace. And to help one another. Thank you. So our opening hymn is number 310, The Earth is Home. It's in the regular hymnal. Before we do that, I have one more thing to read. It's one of my favorites. It's from Chief Seattle. You probably have heard it. In fact, there's like a children's book on it. This we know, the earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. This we know, all things are connected like the blood which unites one family. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons and daughters of the earth. We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. Attributed to Chief Noah Seattle. Okay, please rise as you're able for hymn number 310.
Good morning. It's time. It's time. Can I have the young learners? Zachary, Henry? No? Okay. I'm going to go off script, just get us started. Oh, yeah, okay, you were up here. That's great. So, I'm going off script to get us all started, because I want to frame this around, we're going to be talking about biomimicry. But first, before we talk about what that is, I just want to share one of my observations lately. As a teacher and a parent, I've observed that children in this generation, the ones, in my experience, when they have questions or problems that they want to solve, they turn to Alexa or Google, right? And that's okay for information that exists, right? And for questions that have already been answered and problems that have already been resolved. But what about the problems that we haven't figured out a solution for yet, or these questions that have no answers yet? We can't turn to Alexa for those. So where can we find answers to our solutions, to our problems? Let's talk about nature. Okay. We're going to talk about biomimicry. Do we have any copycats around here? Any copycats? Anybody that mimics, what their parents say when they're angry? Or just mimics others? Yeah, to copycat? Look at the kitties. All right. How do we copy each other, and why do we copy each other? For survival. Oh, does anyone know what this little fella is? Yeah. Oh. A lot of people hate these mosquitoes. They are responsible for a terrible disease plaguing some continents that kill hundreds and thousands. Just nasty little critters, right? There's nothing to gain from these mosquitoes other than malaria. Not true. You see the little needle that we don't like gets in our arms? We can't even feel it. We don't even know when it's getting us until we start really itching and we have 10 bites already, right? If you really think about it, the fact that we can't feel that needle, that has inspired scientists and medical professionals to come up with needles that are painless. That is an example of biomimicry, getting some answers by observing nature. Oh, what is this guy? The chimpanzee. This is our closest living relative, primate relative. They can teach us things when we do two important things. First, we have to get quiet. That's hard. And secondly, we have to watch. We are natural scientists, and we've got to learn to be still and watch and observe. That's one of the first steps of being a copycat. Additionally, that's okay. One of the things that we've learned from chimpanzees, which one's right, is how to treat certain illnesses with plants. We have gotten, as humans, ideas about how to medicate each other by watching what plants chimpanzees are eating and healing themselves with. When they're sick. We watch them when they're sick. Another example of mimicry, biomimicry. Okay. Now, many of you, have you ever heard of the super fast train? Popularly known as the bullet train, which is a bit of a misnomer these days, and we'll get into why. But this train is called the Shinkansen, right? Invented in Japan. Goes 186 miles an hour. Super fast for a train. Solved a lot of... That's right. You know what happens when a train like that goes through a tunnel? Oh, the air builds up in front of it. And when it comes out, it creates boom, a sound as loud as a cannon. That's not really a pleasurable experience for the neighbors that live near this tunnel, right? Can you imagine living near a tunnel and hearing a boom, longer and louder than that? So it also, you know, these sonic booms also can damage the train themselves. So that had to be resolved. How do we resolve this issue? Having a train that goes almost 200 miles an hour is a huge benefit for us, but not if it's going to create this big sound problem. Oh, snap. Maybe make it aerodynamic. And where did we learn about aerodynamics? Airplanes, right? But where do we get the idea for airplanes? See this Kingfisher? Yes, exactly. Luckily, the inventor of this Shinkansen train was also a bird lover, a bird watcher, and he started to observe Kingfisher birds. The thing about biomimicry that's so cool is that as humans, we were not the first ones to come up with, to have problems that needed to be resolved. We were not the first ones to solve problems. And therefore, we share a lot of the similar problems with organisms in nature. So the kingfisher used to, early in evolution, try to get its fish, and it would just make a huge splash and a huge noise, and that would kind of ruin its chances of getting fish, would make it harder. But the inventor of the Shinkansen train observed that this kingfisher has evolved to where it can now dive into the water without even making a splash. Just go, choo, thereby being able to get its food. So after observing the kingfisher bird, we were able to create a train that was less problematic with noise. Oh my gosh, the burrs! The burrs. What good are burrs? What good could they be for? Besides, what did she say? Who's got shoes? Velcro. You know what Velcro is? Oh, Velcro. Yes, you do. Listen, everybody. So satisfying. This Velcro. You don't. But I bet once upon a, they are hard. They are hard. But yeah, slip-ons. That's my thing too. Some people do like Velcro, right? And Velcro can be used for more than just for shoes, right? So Velcro was inspired by this piece of nature. Another example of biomimicry. Yes, biomimicry. Okay, exactly. But it didn't work. So maybe sit out in nature quietly and just watch. There we go, Velcro. Let me put this down in case I'm leaving out information.
You're okay. You're doing very good.
A Swiss man who was probably a little older than your grandparents got quiet and observed these burrs on his clothing. He's the one that came up with Velcro. He studied and experimented for 12 years. It's longer than some of you have been alive. It takes patience. So the keys to mimicry are biomimicry are learning from nature, being quiet, observing, looking, listening, and asking questions. Okay? So I'm ready for the next slide. So you can take a weekend.
Keep going. Next one.
Oh,
Next one.
look, there's the Nashua River. Where's that? All right. Let's keep with the script. This is the camping one?
Who organized this?
Not me. I'm just the messenger.
Keep going. Keep going. It's okay. Keep going. There we are.
That's okay. Oh, look at that. There we are camping, right? So like all animals, we like to eat at the camp out. It's always more fun to eat outside, right? Yeah, you can come for the day. Susan will lend you a tent and sleeping bags if you want to spend the night. Let's see, next slide. Who's that? Oh, I see Henry and Jack. All right. Sierra, there she is. And she's sitting in a sink of a tiny RV that Bob built. Have you ever camped in your backyard? Because you don't have to go far. Remember that slide of the Nashua River? There are ponds in Littleton, trails right in your backyard. You do not have to go far. There it is, see? I told you. Nashua River, not far. So, what is your favorite place outside? Do you have a favorite place? You want to say it?
My lake.
Your lake. Do you like to go out there? And what's your favorite place outside?
The park that we have in my backyard.
Ooh, what about you?
My favorite place outside is just any tree I can climb by myself.
There's this place that I like to rollerblade down. There's this old abandoned college that I can rollerblade to, and there's some nice climbing trees there, so I just hang out there.
Oh, gives us such hope to know that you guys are lovers of nature. So next time you're in your favorite place, thank you for sharing, be still and look around. You might get inspired by something in nature to help solve a problem. You might discover a new medicine to help people, or you just might appreciate how wonderful the world is.
Thank you, Sarah. I wanted to take a picture of the tree out front. Remember the tree the kids used to climb when they were waiting for their parents for coffee hour? It's too tall now to climb on. So if you look at the words to the anthem, you can see it was by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And in the darkest, coldest things, there's always, always something sings. But in the mud and dirt of things, and in the daily flow of things, there's always something sings. So each month we have a special collection that is another way we kind of flex our muscles of generosity. And Sarah Buchholtz is going to introduce the speaker today.
Dawn Moncrief is the founder and president of A Well-Fed World, an international hunger relief and food security organization advancing the benefits of plant-based foods and farming. She is a graduate of Buchholtz Institute for Ethical Leadership and holds 2 master's degrees from the George Washington University, one in international relations, the other in women's studies, both with a focus on economic development. For more than 2 decades, her work has highlighted the ways in which the consumption and production of animal-sourced foods increase economic disparities and exacerbate global hunger, especially for women and girls. She also draws attention to the devastating impact of animal agriculture as a major driver of natural resource depletion and climate destruction. Dawn is the board chair of ProVeg International, board chair of Beyond Carnism, and co-chair of the Food and Climate Alliance. She has presented throughout the US, UK, Europe, and Africa. Her publications include contributions in Food Justice, a Primer, Striking at the Roots, Circles of Compassion, and the Reducitarian Solution.
So her main message is that animal-sourced foods increase economic disparity. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And it especially impacts women and girls. So that is the focus of her 2 decades of work, of how she advocates to eat more plants and less animals, because as you know, even when you eat meat, it just takes, in the Amazon, let's say, it takes a lot of deforestation and a lot of energy to feed the meat, especially the cows. That has the highest global footprint. So it looks like that's where you can write a check, or you can put cash in the basket. And we apologize for the technical challenges. Having been back there and trying to do it, it's challenging. There's a lot of moving parts. So I guess we could.
Dawn, can you try to unmute again and speak?
So I guess we could take the offertory now that will help women and girls throughout the planet and help the planet. Thank you for coming, Dawn. We apologize for this problem. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, you could send what you were going to say to us, and we can share it by an email. Good idea, Linda. Okay, so let's do the collection. Remember to put your pink cards in the collection box, please. Beautiful, beautiful. So we have our words to sum up the offertory. We are grateful for the opportunity to give and serve, and grateful for the gifts we have received. May this affirm the ministries of our church community, both within and beyond these walls. And just before we sing the next hymn, I'll just read a couple of these. Nature teaches me to transcend my day-to-day concerns and immerse myself in beauty. Nature has taught me the power of renewal and the power of rhythm. Now, I totally relate to this one. Like squirrels, always keep my pantry stocked in case of emergency. Please rise as you're able, and we're going to sing from the Teal Hymnal 1052, The Oneness of Everything. If you see in the order of service, we're supposed to do candles of caring. I have a concern. It's about 10 minutes of 11. Okay, there will be no candles of caring. Please lift them up in your hearts, and we shall move on to the reading, which Liz Cooper is going to do. Nature has taught me that almost any conditions can inspire new growth.
I wrote that one. What a happy coincidence. So it's actually readings plural. And the first is quoted from Braden Allen, a vice president of technology and environment at AT&T. When we objectively view the recent past, and 200 years is recent even in terms of human evolution, and certainly in terms of biological evolution, one fact becomes clear. The Industrial Revolution, as we now know it, is not sustainable. We cannot keep using materials and resources the way we do now. But how are we to land softly? Next is a summary of an article by Liz McKenzie posted on Encounters North, a website dedicated to the memory of naturalist Richard Nelson, who died in 2019 at age 77. Careful observation and reliable knowledge are essential for success and survival among the Inupiat people in the Arctic. Hunters must understand the intricate details of animal behavior and ecology. Nothing reveals this more clearly than the Inupiat understanding of the polar bear. Inupiat elders observe and copy the most effective fishing and hunting methods from polar bears to sustain their communities living in the rugged environment of the far north. The Inupiat are the original Arctic scientists, having studied every aspect of their environment for centuries. They watch and share the information with fellow hunters and to initiate younger hunters. Using information passed down for generations, Inupiat hunters decipher information from polar bear tracks in snow and ice. They can tell when the animal was there, its size and condition, whether it was hunting or simply traveling. For example, a set of large tracks could be a healthy male, while small, narrow prints with even smaller ones alongside might be an undernourished female with cubs. A polar bear is a crafty hunter. It will cover its black nose with its paw to hide the only black part on its body to stay camouflaged while hunting. It is likely that early hunters learned a polar bear technique for hunting seals. A polar bear will lie very still on the ice, acting like a seal, to lure its prey out of the water so the bear can kill the seal. The Inupiat seem to have copied such hunting tactics to lure the seals out on the ice for slaughter. But also, a human hunter may lie down to imitate a seal basking on the ice and trick the polar bear into coming close enough for the crafty hunter to kill the bear. The Inupiat have an intricate relationship with polar bears for hunting strategies, for meat, and for hides for warm, dry clothing and boots, for sleeping pads, and for decorative clothing. The Inupiat demonstrate the basics of biomimicry: to be still and silent, to observe carefully, and then to copy the behavior.
Thank you, Liz. What somebody has learned from nature the beauty of everything. I am a shameless copycat. Rich Lombardi taught me about this. I guess he's down with the kids. This is a heated ski sock. This heat has kept me warm on the coldest days. And so I copied Rich. I didn't even have to see his socks, which he said he only washed once a year. So the sermon today is inspired by this woman, Jane Benyus. She invented the discipline of biomimicry. She's my age. She was born in 1958. And I'm gonna go fast through this prepared words because just keep an eye on time. You've already learned a lot about mosquitoes and hunting and specific examples. And to get quiet and observe, that is the basics of biomimicry. So Jean Benyus has written 6 books. It's really dense, but I've listened to a bunch of her podcasts. She has her own podcast, and other people have latched onto it. And it's huge in designing cities, buildings, places. But one of the things I've learned from nature is, and one of the basics she writes about, nature does not soil its own nest. And Michael, I don't know if you can go back to the first slide and then come back to the bees. The first slide is a picture of the Yukon. Bob and I took a long trip, a canoe trip with a bunch of other people. It wasn't that canoe. It was the first slide of the whole deck, but if it's too hard, I totally get it. So we often go 100 miles on a wild and scenic river and pack everything up. We have to filter water. That's the first lesson. I just take water for granted. A next lesson is the food. We don't forage. Sometimes Bob catches a fish, if we're lucky. But otherwise we bring food, so the next thing that happens is we immediately have trash. And nature does not soil its own nest, so we have to haul out the plastics and the metal. We burn the rest, again, soiling our nest with the pollution from the smoke of the fire. Nature depends on and rewards cooperation. And we can go back to the bees now, because I'm going to talk about, hey, we're doing it. Michael, you're doing great back there. Again, if you can do better, do it. It's a hard job. I discovered that honeybees and Unitarians have a lot in common. You might think the queen bee is in charge. No, she is not the boss. She has one job. It's the same job of time immemorial for women, which is to reproduce as much as possible, with as many eggs as possible. Extreme fertility is her job. And they're all united by a common goal, which is gathering food. They secrete pheromones to talk to each other. People know what a pheromone is? It's like something you can't see, but you can smell or sense. Like a dog can sense if you're afraid of it. But pheromones were first named in 1959. It can do all kinds of things, like warn you, trigger sexual behavior, define territory. So the bees use their pheromones to talk about where to get food. Efficiently and cooperatively, they vibrate, they do a waggle dance to share abstract information. So the queen bee's not in charge. Who is? I'd like to ask that same question here at FCU. Who is in charge? Right, we could ask the standing committee or deacons, but they'll probably check it out with someone else. And that's how we make decisions here. The minister's not in charge. We sign her check, and ministers come and go. We keep going. So, like bees, FCU works with a high degree of interdependence. We're decentralized. We support each other in nonlinear ways. Like bees, we occasionally swarm in agreement. I like it when that happens. Toward a goal defined by our common values. Like bees, we communicate through sharing of food. Like bees, the longer we interact, the more important it is. Like bees, We can change direction quickly with new information and data. That's what makes us progressives. We are interested in new ideas. And business management experts, they latch onto this. They're always looking for the next book, and they talk about how bees collaborate instantaneously toward common goals, but they don't force anyone to follow. So, and if your company operates that way, it's much more productive, and your employees stay around much longer. Let's do a time check. There's a few more examples. Elk make antlers and coral reefs without high heat or CO2 emissions. Elk antlers and coral reefs are as hard as concrete. They do it. How do they do it? We can learn from this. When you make concrete, when humans do it, it releases a ton of CO2 for each ton of concrete manufactured. Then there's my favorite. It goes along with the song, slime mold. It's a single-celled organism with no nervous system, yet it appears to do intelligent things like reasoning, making decisions, and having a form of memory. They use a simple set of rules to optimize foraging while minimizing energy. So that can be applied to city planning, laying out train lines. And slime has informed human scientists how to make a better lubricant for eye drops, to stop blood flow to a tumor and eliminate the need for surgery, and also in reinforcing concrete. So this is Jane Benyus's summary, an ode to our wonderful home planet and the many miracles we have yet to discover and copy. Nature runs on sunlight, uses only the energy it needs, fits form to function, recycles everything, rewards cooperation, banks on diversity, demands local expertise, curbs excess from within, and taps the power of limits. And from our congregation here. Before plants and animals, there were microbes. They are the base of life. The hardiness and fragility always balances and tensions in every living thing. Nature has taught me that God, science, and faith are one. So we could sing the final hymn, Cindy Malley, or should we? Okay, let's sing. Everybody likes to sing. The short sermon, nobody's complaining. So rise as you're able, and the words are up on the bulletin board, the modern bulletin board, and also in your order of service. beautiful. Jim, I don't think it's on. What should I do? It is on? Okay, maybe I have to go in. Yes, please, join hands. And if you're online, please hold your hands up. That was a humpback whale. What do we have to learn from that creature? Nature has taught me to stop and listen, reverence, to move with intention and care. From nature, I've learned that being in nature energizes and restored me. Nature has taught me persistence and the faith that with persistence, the good will prevail.